Woo! Hello, everybody. Welcome to our 4 o'clock focus on this lovely Friday evening. I am Seamus, and today I'm joined with...
I'm Sarah. So
Awesome.
Nice to see you all, everybody.
Woo! So, Sarah, let's introduce ourselves. Sarah, where are you originally from?
Well, I'm from a small village in the countryside, near quite a big city in the centre of England. And the big city, which most people have heard of, is Nottingham, which is famous for Robin Hood, Sherwood Forest. For the football fans out there, Nottingham Forest, it's a big football club. But I was born in the countryside, but Nottingham was the place where I went to school. What about you, Seamus? Where are you from?
So I'm Seamus. I'm from Donegal in the northwest of Ireland. So very close to Northern Ireland, very close to the UK. But luckily, I don't have to deal with Brexit at the moment. Because I'm just across the border.
Do you live by the sea or do you live inland?
I live...
Is Donegal on the sea or...?
Yeah, it's next to the Atlantic Ocean. I live a mile inland, so but very close to the Atlantic Ocean, or it's on a peninsula near the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like on the right hand side, so quite close to a river that flows out into the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
A little bit of the calm side of the hill. Whereas if I was on the other side, I would get all the wind from the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay. The reason I ask is because Nottingham is in the centre of England, and it's one of the places where to get to the sea, you drive the same to the west and the same to east, because it's in the middle of the country, and so we are a long way from the sea. So
long way from the sea. But is the weather nicer in Nottingham compared to Manchester, which is near the sea?
Yeah, I guess it's less rainy, so it's probably less rainy, but it's England, so it rains quite a lot
it doesn't really
in comparison to Italy. But
it's
not cold. Yeah, you don't get a cold sea breeze or anything like that. So
okay, well, you do in Donegal all the time. But it's beautiful. Yeah, I grew up probably similar to you on a farm. So quite far away from the nearest city to me is a very small city called Derry, or if you're from the UK, they like to say Londonderry. But as an Irish person, we don't like to say that. So we always say Derry.
Really? I didn't know that.
It is a small city, and it's about 25 or 30 minutes drive away. So not too bad. That's where I did all my studying in the UK, or just across the border in Derry. So it was fun traveling into the UK and back out every day, changing from euros to sterling and then back again. It was exciting. It was, but it had its good moments and its bad moments. If you, for example, if the sterling was really bad, you could do your shopping in Derry, and then if this euro was really bad, you've seen all the people coming out from Derry to do their shopping in Donegal. So
so really near the border.
Yeah, really, really close. Yeah, so you can get a good bargain if you're good with the currencies. Okay, so in this focus activity, we're going to do family ties. Let's introduce. So what can our students expect to do in this focus? Sarah, can you introduce?
Yeah, sure. Family ties. In this focus activity, describing your family dynamics and asking and answering questions about your family. So all about family. And in the meantime, if you're listening, if you want to put in the chat where you're from and your name, we can give you a shout out. It's easier for us if we know who you are. Thank you very much, Marta. So we have Marta from Milan. She was born in Milan as well. So she's a true Milanese, I think they're called. So welcome, Marta. Lovely to see you. And for the other people watching, if you can just tell us your name and where you're from. We've got Elvira, perfect, from Rome. Okay, so we've got Milan and we've got Rome. I should say, by the way, we are in Florence. So Seamus and I both work in Florence. So we are between Marta and Elvira. So you could come and say hi to us when you're on your way from Milan down to Rome, or when you're from Rome up to Milan.
Good. Marta, you can also just say, you can slim down your sentences and just say, I was born and raised in Milan, which is the same to say you were born there and you're still there and you grew up there. Okay, so I was born and raised in Milan.
Yeah, cool. Very true. I was born and raised in a small village just near Nottingham.
Very good. And I was born and raised in a small, there's a small village, but I live a little further out in the countryside. But the whole region is called Redcastle. A really easy name to remember. But there is no castle, so I don't know where the name originated from. But on
and I'm guessing
one side,
it's not.
No, well, the football team is red, obviously.
Okay.
But so it's really funny. In my last focus that I did, I said I was born and raised in Redcastle. I went to school in Whitecastle, but I went ghost hunting in a place called Greencastle.
No,
so
that's
we're not very
ridiculous.
good at coming up with names in Donegal.
In the meantime, hey there, Valentina. Valentina is living in Milan, but she was born in Bari. Okay, so welcome to you, Valentina. So we've got two people from Milan. Elvira was born and raised in Rome, so she's a true Roman as well. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
good.
Really
welcome
good.
To you all, thanks for joining.
Excellent. And I think we'll also be doing some phrasal verbs within this lesson. So ultimately, you guys will be able to describe your family using, or your family dynamics using phrasal verbs by the end of this focus. So first activity, who is that? So I think it can be quite difficult. Family relations can be complicated to know all the names for each of the family members. So we're going to practice that in this exercise. Can you read number 1, Sarah?
Yeah, sure. Max is the brother of my mother. So he is my...
Perfect.
Okay.
So I put a little
ticker.
if
you want to... Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So family relations can be complicated. Can you guess who is who? So simply put in the number and then what you think the family member is. Sarah, do you have a big family? Immediate family, like brothers, sisters?
I have one, but my mum and dad were only children. So my mum and my dad don't have any brothers and sisters. So my mum doesn't have any brothers and sisters, and my dad doesn't have any brothers and sisters. So we're a very small family.
You have no aunts or uncles?
Nope.
Interesting. You're like the opposite of me.
Oh no. How many aunts and uncles do you have?
Okay, well, I was trying to work it out before this focus. So I have 10 uncles and I have 11 aunts. Okay, so my dad has 6 brothers and 6 sisters, and my mum has 5 sisters and 4 brothers. So it's a typical Irish family. It is extremely big.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, I don't know all my cousins very well, but I worked it out. I have 96 first cousins. I hope I didn't forget someone, but I probably did.
Wow.
So 96 first cousin.
Do you know how many
that is
cousins
crazy.
I
It's
have?
A very entertaining 0.
I have 0 cousins.
I shall give you some of my cousins, Sarah.
Thank you. No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. But I do have my brother is married, and my brother has children. So I am an aunt. Okay,
very
so
good.
I don't have aunts, but I am an aunt.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. And that's good. That. Do you like have any family events where you all get together, like Christmas? I know if you were American, you would all to get together for Thanksgiving. In Ireland, usually Easter is the time where family get together. For us,
no, for us it's Christmas, Christmas and birthdays. So, for example, my brother, if you have a big birthday, so my brother was 50, so we had a big party for my brother's 50. My mum was 80, and we had a big party for her 80th. And also wedding anniversaries. So when my mum and dad celebrated 50 years of marriage, we got together for wedding anniversaries. So we do things like that.
Okay, so like a milestone birthday or event where you reach like a 10 or a maybe like an 18 years old or a 21. Okay, I like that. It's very good.
Exactly.
So we have lots of answers already. That is fantastic. Okay, so number 1. So Max is the brother of my mother. What answers do we have? So Max is the brother of my mother. He is my uncle. So Martha has the correct answer. I think it's the only one I see. Oh, we have a couple. So we have Martha, Valentina, Elvira. Excellent. Really, really good. So yeah, he is my uncle. Really good. A really common, nice, easy one. So sometimes people confuse aunt, uncle. Be careful with the pronunciation. No H. So no hunkle, but uncle. Number 2, Sarah, I will let you answer that, even though.
Yes. So Jill is my husband's sister. So she is my sister-in-law.
Yeah, very good. Yeah? So Jill, just be careful. Jill is a female, and because it says husband's sister, so she is my sister-in-law. So not brother-in-law, but because Jill is a female. Maybe short for Jillian. Maybe I'm not so sure. Like the popular rhyme, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Okay, so sister-in-law. Number 3, Brett is the son of my brother. He is my, thank you, Valentina, already in there, and Elvira is the correct answer. So he is my nephew. That PH makes a F sound. So nephew. Very good. Number 4, Sarah?
So Carly is my daughter. So she is my granddaughter. So that's great from Elvira. Yeah, exactly right. And Valentina as well. You both got that right. So yeah, exactly. Granddaughter. You can obviously use granddaughter, grandson. And then, but if it's together, if it's male and female, what do you have?
You could say grandchild or grandchildren.
Yeah, depending on if it's singular or if it's plural. Yeah, exactly. So we have 4 ways to talk about those.
Exactly. Yeah, so in this one, you could say Carly is my grandchild or Carly is my granddaughter because she is female. Perfect. But yeah, if you have more than one, if you have a boy, well, like let me see. Jason is my daughter's son. That would be your grandson.
And if you have a grandson and a granddaughter, you would say, I have 2 grandchildren.
Perfect.
Because you can't say grandsons because one is a boy, one is a girl. If you have two boys, you could say I've got two grandsons or I've got two granddaughters. But if you have a mix in English, you have to use the word children because that is your unisex word. You have to say my grandchildren, and that will be boys or girls, and it doesn't have a sex defined to it.
Perfect. Good description. Okay, number 5, I shall do that. Henry is the son of my mother and her second husband. Okay, so I'm scrolling through for answer for number 5. Ooh, we have here. So from Elvira says, Henry is my half brother. Do you agree with that, Sarah?
Well, you know what? I don't know. I'm guessing yes.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so he is my half brother because we share the same mother, but not the same father. Okay, so he is my half brother. Okay, but again, it depends on people. So some might just say, "Oh, he's my brother," and leave out the half, depending on the relationship, I guess. But technically, he is a half brother. And the last one, number 6, Sarah.
So Hannah is the daughter of my father's new wife. So she is and I would say she is my stepdaughter.
Well, remember, Hannah is the daughter of my father's new wife, so not your stepdaughter, but your sister. Yeah, stepsister.
Sorry.
You're okay. It is confusing. You're okay, don't worry. So stepsister, Elvira. So Elvira did the same. She says stepdaughter, stepsister.
I'm not you, stepsister.
Yeah. So in this description is kind of highlighting stepsister. Okay, very good. So stepsister. So obviously my father's wife had the child before they got together, before they got married. So it is of no blood relation. So you say stepsister. Whereas a half brother, you have a blood relation from one parent. Very good. Are we any other ones that we've done? No. So we've done niece. What is the female? So for example, number 3, Brett is the son of my brother. What if I say, let me think of a female name. Marta.
Sarah.
So Marta is the daughter of my brother. So what is the female? Do I say female nephew as well?
No, exactly. We've got a different word. So we've got nephew and then we have niece. So I, for example, I have 2, and I can't say 2 nephews because I have 1 boy and 1 girl. So I have 1 nephew and 1 niece. And there is no word that describes the 2 together. So I have to do them separately. So I have a nephew and I have a niece.
Perfect. Okay, so our students watching, how many nephews and how many nieces do you have? I would love to know. So how many nephews and how many nieces do you have? Sarah,
How many cousins? How many cousins? See if you can beat Seamus's 96 cousins.
Yeah, do you have more or do you have less cousins than me? But Sarah, I'm going to ask you the most difficult question in the world.
No. I got number 6 wrong.
Who is your favorite? Your nephew or your niece?
Oh, and this is going out on YouTube, so I don't want to say anything really bad. I think I like my niece and my nephew in equal ways, but in different ways.
Good.
My diplomatic, my niece is quite sensitive, and she is she's quite a feminine person. She's quite similar to me, I think. My nephew is very similar to my brother, actually. And so my brother is very sporty, likes going out, and is quite boy thing. He does a lot of boy things. And my nephew is good. So if I want to go and do something sporty, my nephew is really good for that. So they're very different, and I like them both equally.
Good. Really, really good diplomatic answer. And just out of curiosity, which one is older, or are they similar age?
My niece is older than my nephew. She is 3 years older than my nephew. So she's the oldest one, which is the opposite in my family, because my brother is older than me. So I'm the younger of the two, whereas my niece is older than her brother. So it's inverted.
Perfect. So I'm just going to, so Martha, sorry, I'll let you continue.
Oh, no, I was going to say it's exactly Martha has, I don't have nephew and niece. How can we make that a little bit, if you want to say that you don't have, there's something you could use to describe it. So we don't have one nephew and one niece, but if we want to say in general, how would you describe it?
Don't look at my comment.
Seamus says, I don't have any nieces or nephews. Okay. And we have the opposite from Valentina. Valentina has 2 nephews and 1 niece. Okay.
Beautiful.
And Elvira, I have not nephews. Elvira, in the negative? Any idea?
I don't have any nephews, or I haven't got any nephews. Depends if you want to use that British English or American English.
Yeah, I've written the I don't have any nephews. Okay.
Perfect. Okay. So for me, I have 5 nieces and 2 nephews.
Your Christmas and Easter must be a nightmare. You must have to like hire like a big hotel to have your dinner with like 3,000 people.
Sometimes it feels like that, but we usually go to my sister's house and we eat in like a big tent in the back garden. It can be quite nice. Yeah, it's really nice. It's an awesome time to just kind of just get together and just be silly. I love to spend time with my nieces and nephews. They're more fun than my brothers and sisters, just in case you're watching. Okay, that was really good. So can anybody beat my 96 cousins? I'm curious. How many cousins do you have?
Well, Marta's put an interesting comment. Marta's put, I have many cousins.
Maybe.
But she doesn't give a number. Maybe she has so many, she doesn't know how many.
Exactly. In the past, I just said, oh my God, I have several cousins. Like an extremely large amount of cousins, because I never knew the exact number.
Can you name them all?
If you give me my phone, I wrote them all down. So I could, but
yeah,
no,
not now.
Without my phone, no, I would definitely miss a lot of them. And they're spread out all over the world. Like there's some of them actually in Austria, Australia. Quite a lot of them have moved to America. So they're everywhere. And now I'm occupying Italy. So the Dohertys are taking over the world. Okay, so phrasal verb time, everybody's favorite English grammar. Well, favorite part of learning English is doing the phrasal verbs. So here we have a little task. Is it a phrasal verb about upbringing, or is it a phrasal verb about inheriting something? Sarah, can you read through the phrasal verbs?
Sure. To bring up, to take after, to raise or to be raised, to run in the family, to look after, and to get something from.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so can you guys help us answer these? What category do you think they go in under? So you can write to bring up. Is it upbringing or inherit something?
Let me just share this one. I don't remember because I have a lot and I don't read most of them.
Yeah,
thanks, Elvira.
And sometimes you just don't want to meet them. We all have some crazy cousins, some bad influences.
But while the people are looking at which ones go in inherit and which ones go in upbringing, how would you describe the difference between inherit and upbringing, Seamus? What would you say your definitions? If you say I inherit it, or if you talk about upbringing, what's the difference for you?
Okay, so inherit is something that is passed on. Like from my father to me, from my mother to me, or from my grandparents to my parents to me, okay? Some of those traits, some of those behaviors, maybe even appearances, obviously. Upbringing, how I was treated, how I was maybe even, what would I say, punished for certain things growing up. What were the rules in my house? Did I have a strict upbringing, or was it a lenient upbringing?
Yeah, it's more like the education. I always think upbringing is education in lots of different ways, whereas inherit is, I suppose, more to do with your DNA. It's more a biological thing that you don't have any control over. I think sometimes you inherit stuff that you don't want, but you can't do anything about it because it's something you can't control.
Perfect.
So
my big nose.
Yeah, the fact I'm short. I get that from my mum. Yeah, exactly.
Can I say that my sweet tooth is because I inherited it? That I just love chocolate? Maybe.
But I also think maybe it's upbringing, because if you it depends on what chocolate was like in your house. So if it was considered something that you couldn't have, maybe that's the reason why you eat a lot of it, because before you didn't have it. Or it could be that you just naturally, it could be something in your DNA. I don't know.
Perfect.
I don't know.
I have an amazing.
There's probably something.
Yeah, I have an amazing story related to chocolate and Easter, and how I acted as a child. So in Ireland, is very similar to the UK. Our Easter eggs are in a box, okay? And you have like a little window where you can see the egg through the box. Okay, so not similar to the eggs in Italy, where they just come in a big plastic and they look really beautiful, almost like a vase that you put your flowers in. Okay? And in the past, my mum would put all the Easter eggs in a line above the presses in the kitchen. So I decided one year to open every Easter egg and eat the back of the egg, so that the front didn't look like it was eaten, but the back of every Easter egg, I think there were maybe about 20 small Easter eggs, and I ate the back of every one. So when all my brothers and sisters or my nieces and nephews went to get their Easter egg, it was only half an egg. So of course.
Did you tell them that it was you, or did you not say anything?
I didn't need to say anything. They knew. They knew who it would be. I get reminded about it every Easter.
Good idea, good tactic.
Yeah, it was definitely. I thought it was quite clever.
Well done.
So that shows my sweet tooth. When it comes to chocolate, I have a big weakness. I can't say no. Okay, so let's go through these. We have lots of answers now. So to bring up is upbringing. Yeah, so to upbringing is like how you were raised. Like that weird word we had before. I was born and raised, or I was brought up by who? Take after, Sarah, what do you think?
So take after, as Elvira has put exactly, to inherit. Exactly.
Excellent.
Right, very good, Elvira. Yeah.
Very good. So who do you take after the most, Sarah? Your mum or your dad? And in what way?
Physically, I take after my mum. I have the same eyes. I have the same height. She is the same height as me. And I have the same kind of body shape as my mum. So yeah, I'm really similar to my mum, and I take after my mum. But for character and personality, I take after my dad.
That's exactly, So you always have to think of the take after is always two things. So like, your behavior and your appearance.
Yeah, definitely. Who do you take after? Do you have a divide, or is it a mix?
No, it's definitely divided. I guess I would look more like, actually, probably aging more to my mother. A little bit of lux from my mother, unfortunately. I'm only joking, Mom. And then I'd say I act and I behave more like my father. So usually I'm more reserved, calm, whereas my mum is the complete opposite. She's just a bit crazy in every way. And then my appearance is more on my mother's side. Okay, so to raise, sorry, I accidentally pressed it already, but we had the correct answer from Valentina, so is upbringing. Good. So again, it's like to be born and raised, to bring up, and to run in the family is a very common phrase. Very good. Again, Valentina. So to run in the family is something we inherit. So what traits run in your family? Again, are you going to refer to the height of everyone in your family?
No, because my dad's quite tall, but blue eyes run in our family.
Oh, okay.
So everybody has blue eyes. My mum, my dad, my brother, me, my grandma, my granddad, everybody have blue eyes. So blue eyes really runs in the family. And my niece and nephew, they both have blue eyes as well. My sister-in-law has brown eyes, but my niece and nephew, they both have blue eyes. Yeah,
interesting. So maybe your sister-in-law will change your family dynamic.
I don't know, but yeah, we've got blue eyes running in our family. What runs in your family, Seamus?
I was going to say stupidity, but no, I'm only joking. I have to say that because my name is Seamus and it sounds like Shamo. So I guess red beards definitely run in my family. So my immediate family.
Even with the women.
Oh no, yeah,
the women as well.
Well, sometimes. You just never know with my sister. So yeah, the ginger, we say a ginger beard. Ginger hair, not so much. But I can say eye color because we definitely have a mixture. It's kind of like half and half, actually. Three of my brothers, blue eyes. And then my sister, myself. I have blue eyes, but my sister and my brother have brown eyes. My father has brown eyes. I'm trying to think of something.
Oh, so yeah, mixed bag.
I can't think of anything much that runs in my family. I mean, we're all quite stubborn. We don't like to be told what to do, but that's probably just an Irish thing. Okay. The next one we have is to look after. So what is to look after? Oh, we have lots of answers. We have Elvira, it's upbringing, and also Valentina. Well done. So guys, don't be afraid to give us an example of something as well. Who do you look after? Or who looked after you? To get something.
And is there something that runs in the family? Like, do you all have blue eyes or something? That's what runs in the family.
Perfect. I think we'll actually have these questions really, really soon. So I think they're after this, using all the phrasal verbs. So we'll try and get those after this. So Sarah, can you read with your lovely, excellent pronunciation?
Yeah, sure. Full house. Alice was raised in a small town outside of Chicago. Her mum raised her and had to be independent, caring, and helpful. When she was younger, she often looked after her younger siblings. For years, her mum has tried to raise them to be religious too, since she was brought up in a very religious household. As teenagers, Alice and her siblings have rebelled against their religious upbringing.
Okay, really good. Excellent. Guys, if there are any words that you are unsure of, just type them into the chat. What is this word? So maybe the first word, maybe could be the siblings. What are siblings, Sarah?
Yeah, siblings is an interesting one. Siblings is our word for brothers and sisters. It's a bit like children. So children is without the sex. So it could be girl, you don't know. And siblings is the same. So brother is always male, sister is always female. This you could say, well, my siblings, and you could refer to whether they are brothers and sisters. We don't use it a lot because generally we talk about brothers and sisters, but it does exist, and it's a neutral word for whether it's male or female.
Perfect. Yeah, it's not used very often, but again, when you read it, it helps to know what it is. Okay, so we have some questions related to those phrasal verbs from before so that our students can try comment and participate a little more. You can use the examples of Alice, for example, to help you answer your questions. So where were you raised? Who raised you? How were you brought up? And who looked after you? And did you look after your siblings? So if you have any brothers or sisters, did you look after them? Or again, you could use number 4, did they look after you? So we'll try and use these questions to talk about Alice. Sarah, what do you think? So where was Alice raised?
Okay, well, Alice was raised near Chicago, in a small town just outside Chicago.
Excellent.
And let me ask you the second question. Who raised Alice?
Okay, so let me see. Alice was raised by her mum. And, so not just by her mum, who also raised her 4 siblings or her 3 siblings. As in Alice's brothers and sisters.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and number 3, how was Alice brought up? What do you think? Was she brought up badly or well?
She was brought up well, to be independent and helpful. So obviously her mum appreciated a particular way of behavior. So we go back to the education. So she was obviously born with a certain amount of characteristics, but then her upbringing made her to be this independent, caring and helpful person. So these are the things that you gain from your external surroundings rather than your DNA and the characteristics that that maybe you get from your mum and dad without asking for them. So these are all the external factors.
Very good.
And the next one, number 3. So who looked after Alice?
Let me see. Where is that? I'm assuming the mother looked after Alice. Okay, but as a teenager, no, that's not. That's Alice rebelled. Who looked after Alice? So number 4 is her mother looked after her. And then for number 5, Alice looked after her younger siblings. So
yeah, exactly.
Here we can presume that Alice was one of the older children. Maybe the older.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one.
Look, we have some lovely comments coming in now. So from Marta, my mother raised me, and then be careful. So I looked after, or well, you could say, I look after my brother now at the moment, is what I get from that sentence. So I'll just highlight that. So my mother raised me, and I look after my brother now. Okay. Or if it was in the past, I looked after my brother when I was growing up. You can also say my younger brother or my older brother, just to give us that little bit more information. Elvira, I was born and raised in Rome, and I was brought up in a family mixed. So what do you think she means by a family mixed, Sarah?
I think potentially the word order. So she was brought up in a mixed family. So remember that with adjectives and nouns in English, the adjective comes before the noun. So I was brought up in family. And yeah, my mother came from the center of Italy and my father from the south. I bet you have good food in your house. If you have from the south and from the center, I bet your food is very good.
Yeah, and the south usually like have a really big quantity of food. So we should give a little more explanation. So the culture was mixed up, mostly Southern culture. Okay, really good.
Yeah.
My mother looked after me because my father worked all the time. Really good example. Okay, I like that. And Valentina, I was raised in a countryside near Brescia. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. My Italian and pronunciation of Italian is really bad. I was raised by my family, so I guess by your parents and your sisters. My mom, my sister, and also my grandmother looked after me when I was younger. Okay, so you don't need when I was a younger and a child. So just one is fine. When I was a child or when I was younger. One of them is perfect. Thank you. I didn't look after my sister because she was older, but we played together. But she controlled me when my mother was out for work. Okay, so you'd say, you could say, I was looked after, or my sister looked after me, but only when my mother was out at work. Okay, and then, but most of the time we just played together. Really good example.
Yeah.
Be careful of using
another word I would use rather than controlled. I would take it back supervised. If you're supervised, so generally the older children would supervise the younger children. Control is a little bit more at a level. For example, you talk about controlling the traffic or controlling a budget form or something like that. It's quite almost like a professional word. But when you talk about children and you talk about a relationship in families, you talk about maybe supervising somebody. So for example, when your children are small and maybe you want them to create something using scissors or maybe cutting with a knife, which is quite dangerous, you would need to supervise your children to check that they don't hurt themselves. So rather than using control, I would use supervise.
Exactly. Yeah, it was really good. Or what would you ever use the word babysit? I guess if it's like one person is much older and the others are younger. So I would
be talking about babysitting. Yeah,
babysitting. Okay, really good examples. So we have another little bit of reading with some more phrasal verb questions after. So shall I read this time? Or would you like to read again? Okay,
no,
so Mike,
give me the Irish accent.
Oh dear, brace yourself. So all in the family. Mike takes after his father. They have the same brown hair and green eyes. Mike's siblings all get their blonde hair and blue eyes from his mom. All of Mike's family is very athletic. It must run in the family. His paternal grandmother says that it was inherited from her parents. They had both competed in the Olympics. Interesting. A very athletic family. Okay, so what questions do we have with this? Who does Mike take after? Again, you have that nice easy in the first sentence. So Mike takes after his father. But Sarah, why or how does Mike take after his father?
Well, he takes after his father because they have the same brown hair and green eyes.
Yeah, they have the same appearance. Number 2, can you ask me, Sarah?
Yeah, sure. Who do Mike's siblings get their blonde hair from?
Okay, so they get their blonde hair from their mother. Okay, so from their mother, or Mike gets all his blonde hair from his mother, but also his brothers and sisters. What trait runs in Mike's family?
That's the athletic trait that runs in the family. So just like you have stubbornness that runs in your family, and I have blue eyes that run in my family, they have athletic traits that run in their family.
That's definitely not a trait in my family.
Eating chocolate is maybe something that runs in your family.
That would definitely be something. I'll let you ask that to me.
Yeah, according to Mike's grandmother, who did they inherit that trait from?
Okay, so according to Mike's grandmother, they inherited that trait from her, her grandmother, or her paternal grandmother, I believe. No, am I correct? From her parents, sorry, not her grandmother, from her.
So it's her great grandparents, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah, or Mike's great grandparents would be
exactly.
who were the two that competed in the Olympics. Mike's great grandparents. Okay, so questions for our students.
Just a quick one. Valentina's written over here. In this family runs athletic traits. Now, be careful because when you use the verb run, you put first and then you put run or runs in the family. Okay, so rather than putting in this family runs athletic traits, you put athletic traits run in the family. Okay, so what comes before runs? Because you can't use it in the same way that you use the verb to run, which is a different meaning. I run is similar to a fast walk. Okay, so I run doesn't mean to take the same direction from the other family. So just your formation when you use this construction here.
Perfect. Okay. So keeping that in mind again, so who do you take after and why? Is it because of physical appearance or your behavior, attitude? What do you get, or what do you get from your mom or from your dad? Okay, in terms of taking after them. What traits run in your family? So be careful, Elvira. So no S on the take. So just I take after my father. And then we always love a because. So I take after my father because we look the same, or I take after my father because we both act the same. We are both angry people. We both hate spending money, or is it because we both love Italian cooking? So there could be many, many reasons. That's why we love the because. So what way do you take that?
I father because we both love reading.
Oh, very good. Yeah, there's a really good example. So my physical, so they both have curly brown hair. Really good. I like it. And what traits run in your family? Does the curly brown hair run in the family? Did your grandparents have curly brown hair? Or your father's mother and father? Very good. Okay, I think we've just enough time to move to the next slide where you can pause it and still answer the questions if you want to try and use these phrases in the context. Okay, so just before the end of this lesson, when I sign off, I'm going to put all the correct answers on the screen. But if you want to answer, pause now. Okay, and now you can unpause because I'm going to go through the answers really quickly before myself and Sarah say cheerio. Okay, so the first one, or here are all the answers. If you don't want to see them, again, go back in the video and press pause and see if you can answer them all correctly. But for now, unfortunately, we have just run out of time because myself and Sarah are on a busy schedule and we have another class to attend to. It was really nice speaking to you guys, and hopefully we see you again soon. Please stay safe. If you don't see us again before Easter, have a lovely Easter holidays from me. Sarah, would you like to say some final farewells?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, happy Easter, everybody. Well done today. It's been lovely finding out about yourselves and finding out about your traits. And just remember, even Valentina, I go back to what I said before. Yeah, traits run in my family. So black traits run in my family. So runs black traits? My family, black traits run. So if you remember one thing from the lesson, remember, run or runs in the family. So yeah, but great work, guys. Thanks very much for your time.
Perfect. Yeah, good example here from Elvira. Okay, so runs, the phrase is run in the family. Always keep it before. Okay, bye. Have a nice day, everyone.
See you. Bye.